What it really means to be bisexual, breaking stereotypes, embracing truth. LGBT Series Part 9. Welcome back to our LGBT series, a journey into understanding, honoring, and celebrating every identity beneath the rainbow. If you've been with us, you've seen how we explored the meaning of same-gender love, embraced what it really means to be a lesbian, and tackled misconceptions with compassion. Today, we shine a much-needed spotlight on a deeply misunderstood identity, bisexuality. In this episode, we're going to walk through everything, from what bisexuality really means, to why it's so often erased or misjudged. We'll dive into the myths, the facts, the emotional reality, the history, the representation, the challenges, and the joy. Whether you identify as bisexual, are questioning, or simply want to better support someone you love, this space is for you. Let's begin by asking the most basic question, and one that often causes confusion: what does it actually mean to be bisexual? Bisexuality is the romantic, emotional, or sexual attraction to more than one gender. That's it. You don't have to be attracted to all genders equally. You don't have to date people of all genders to prove it. You don't need to have a long list of past relationships with different genders. Bisexuality is about potential for attraction, not about your relationship history. And that attraction can be fluid, layered, and deeply personal. Some bisexual people are equally attracted to multiple genders. Others feel stronger attraction to one gender more often, but still experience attraction to others. It doesn't make them less bisexual. Bisexuality is a broad, inclusive spectrum that reflects the complexity of human desire. It is not limited, linear, or rigid. That's the beauty of it, and also why it's so often misunderstood. In fact, the definition has evolved over time. Earlier definitions described bisexuality as attraction to both men and women. But that phrasing left out non-binary people and others who don't identify strictly within the male-female binary. Today, many bisexual people define their identity as attraction to two or more genders, making space for gender diversity and inclusivity. Some prefer the term pansexual for broader inclusiveness, while others proudly reclaim the word bisexual with that modern understanding in mind. And here's something important: bisexuality is not the same as pansexuality, but they do overlap. A bisexual person may feel attraction to more than one gender, often including but not necessarily emphasizing gender. A pansexual person typically describes their attraction as being regardless of gender. Some people use both terms to describe themselves. Others don't feel the need to use any at all. What matters most is that people have the right to define, or redefine, themselves in ways that feel true. But let's talk about what it means emotionally to be bisexual in today's world. For many, bisexuality can feel like a space of beautiful in-betweenness, not because they are halfway between two identities, but because they hold space for more than one truth at once. That can feel empowering. But it can also feel exhausting, especially when the world tries to flatten bisexuality into a stereotype or an assumption. Let's break down some of the most common myths about bisexuality, and the powerful truths behind them. Myth 1: bisexuals are just confused or going through a phase. Truth: bisexuality is a real, stable identity. While some people do question their orientation over time, which is completely natural, that doesn't mean everyone who is bisexual is confused. Many people know from a young age that they're attracted to more than one gender. Their identity is not a phase. It's who they are. Myth 2: bisexual people are more likely to cheat or be unfaithful. Truth: this is one of the most harmful stereotypes. Attraction to more than one gender does not mean a person is incapable of commitment. Cheating is a personal behavior, not a sexual orientation. Bisexual people are just as capable of healthy, loving, monogamous or polyamorous relationships as anyone else. Myth 3: you stop being bisexual once you're in a relationship. Truth: identity is not determined by who you're dating. A bisexual woman in a relationship with a man is still bisexual. A bisexual man in a relationship with another man is still bisexual. The gender of your partner doesn't cancel out your identity. You don't stop being bisexual, ever. Myth 4, bisexuality reinforces the gender binary. Truth, modern bisexuality is not about binary thinking. It's about more than one gender, which often includes non-binary people. Many bisexual folks are part of gender-diverse communities and are strong advocates for inclusion. The language is evolving, and so is the understanding. Myth 5, bisexual people aren't queer enough. Truth, bisexuality is a central, valid, and historic part of the LGBTQ+ community. Bisexual people face discrimination, invisibility, and erasure, even within queer spaces. Their experiences are real and deserve full recognition and support. Now let's look at the emotional challenges that bisexual people often face, and why visibility matters so much. One of the most painful experiences for bisexual people is erasure. This happens when their identity is ignored, dismissed, or overwritten, especially based on their partner. For example, a bisexual person in a straight-passing relationship may feel invisible in queer spaces. A bisexual person in a same-gender relationship may be assumed to be gay or lesbian. This constant invalidation creates a deep sense of disconnection. It's like living in the margins of every conversation, never quite fully seen. Another common struggle is the feeling of being not enough, not gay enough for the queer world, not straight enough for the straight world. This emotional limbo can lead to isolation, anxiety, or internalized shame. Bisexual people are often told to pick a side, as if identity were a choice between two doors. But for bisexual people, their truth lives in the space beyond doors, in the freedom to love with an open heart. And then there's over-sexualization, especially for bisexual women. In media and pop culture, bisexuality is often portrayed as a phase, a performance, or a fetish. Bisexual women are frequently objectified, portrayed as wild, promiscuous, or only there to serve someone else's fantasy. These harmful portrayals dehumanize people and reduce a rich, emotional identity to a sexual cliché. But bisexuality is not about performance. It's about real love, real desire, real relationships, and real people. And it's time we tell those stories with respect, dignity, and depth. Let's continue our exploration of bisexuality, not just as a label, but as a lived experience. In Part 1, we covered the foundational definitions, busted myths, and unpacked the emotional realities that bisexual people often face. Now, we go deeper, into the history, representation, coming out, intersectionality, and the power of support. Let's start with the history of bisexuality, a chapter too often missing from the larger LGBTQ+ narrative. The truth is, bisexual people have always existed. From ancient times to the present, people who experienced attraction to more than one gender have shaped our art, our politics, our stories, and yet, their identities have often been erased or misunderstood. Historical figures like Sappho, Frida Kahlo, James Baldwin, and David Bowie all expressed forms of bisexual attraction. Many were forced to hide, reinterpret, or downplay this part of themselves due to the strict moral codes of their time. Even in recent LGBTQ+ history, bisexual leaders like Brenda Howard, known as the Mother of Pride, played critical roles in organizing the first Pride marches, yet were overshadowed in favor of more binary narratives of identity. Bisexual erasure is not accidental. It's systemic. It shows up when bisexual people are left out of LGBTQ+ media, when their relationships are dismissed, or when their identities are seen as temporary, rather than legitimate. This erasure has real consequences, from lack of healthcare support to increased mental health struggles. Which brings us to the importance of representation. When you grow up bisexual in a world that rarely names or shows your identity, it can feel like being invisible in plain sight. You see people falling in love, finding themselves, making families, but none of them look like your truth. So when bisexual characters do show up, in books, films, TV, or online, they matter. But they have to be done right. For too long, bisexual characters have been written as deceptive, dramatic, unstable, or overly sexual. The bisexual villain or the experimenting, college girl trope has done real harm. It teaches the world, and bisexual people themselves, that their feelings are fake, that their loyalty is always in question, or that their identity is just a temporary pit stop before choosing a real orientation. Thankfully, this is beginning to change. Shows like Sex Education, The Bold Type, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and Heartstopper feature bisexual characters who are loving, stable, kind, and complex. These stories matter. Because every time someone sees their identity honored instead of mocked, a part of them begins to heal. Let's talk now about coming out as bisexual, which comes with its own unique challenges. For many bisexual people, coming out isn't a one-time thing. Because their identity is so often questioned, they find themselves having to come out again and again. To family, friends, co-workers, even within the LGBTQ+ community. And unlike someone whose orientation may be more visibly expressed through their relationship, bisexuality often goes unnoticed and less spoken aloud. That can be lonely. There's also a unique fear: will people still believe me if my partner is a different gender than they expect? That fear is real. Many bisexual people worry they'll be seen as no longer queer if they're in a relationship that looks straight from the outside. Others fear rejection from family members who think bisexuality is a trend or a phase. But here's the truth: coming out, or not coming out, is a personal decision. You don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't need to prove anything. You are bisexual whether you shout it from the rooftops or keep it quietly in your heart. The important thing is that you honor your truth in a way that keeps you safe and grounded. Now let's explore intersectionality. The understanding that no identity exists in isolation. A bisexual person's experience will differ greatly depending on their race, gender identity, disability, religion, body type, age, or socioeconomic background. For example, a black bisexual woman may face racism in LGBTQ+ spaces and homophobia in racial justice spaces. A trans bisexual man might experience both transphobia and biphobia, even within his own community. A disabled bisexual person might face asexual stereotypes or assumptions that their orientation is irrelevant. A Muslim bisexual woman may be navigating deep cultural or religious stigmas around queerness. These overlapping identities create complex experiences, and they must be acknowledged if we're truly committed to equality and inclusion. Intersectionality, a term coined by Kimberly Crenshaw, helps us see these layers clearly. It reminds us that there is no one way to be bisexual, and no one story that can represent the whole. Another important piece of the puzzle is mental health. Because of the constant invisibility, invalidation, and stereotyping, bisexual people often face higher rates of depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts than both straight and gay individuals. Studies consistently show that bisexual youth experience some of the highest rates of mental health challenges within the queer community. But this pain isn't because of bisexuality itself. It's because of how the world treats bisexual people. It's because of the rejection, the doubt, the double discrimination, both from straight society and sometimes from within the LGBTQ+ community. It's the silence that hurts most, the absence of being seen, named, loved as your whole self. And that's why support is everything. If you are not bisexual but want to be a better ally, here are ways to start. Listen without assumptions. Let people tell you who they are, and believe them. Don't erase. When someone comes out as bisexual, don't say, "It's just a phase," or ask if they're sure. Be mindful of language. Say, "partner," instead of assuming gender. Use "queer couple" instead of "lesbian couple" if one person is bisexual. Amplify bisexual voices. Follow bisexual creators, read their books, share their content. Interrupt biphobia. Speak up when someone makes jokes or dismisses bisexual identity. Create space. Whether it's at school, work, home, or in your friend circle, make room for bisexual stories and lives. And if you are bisexual and watching this, know this. You don't have to explain yourself to be real. You don't have to prove anything to be valid. You don't need to hide or shrink or make your identity easier for other people to digest. You are not a bridge. You are not a stepping stone. You are not half anything. You are whole. Now, let's talk about something that doesn't get nearly enough attention when we talk about bisexuality: joy. So much of the discourse around being bisexual focuses on pain, misunderstanding, and marginalization, and while these are real and important, they are not the whole story. There is deep, radiant, soul-filling joy in living as your full, unapologetic self. There is joy in choosing your truth over society's comfort. There is joy in feeling attraction without fear, without hiding, without shame. There is joy in kissing someone you love and not worrying if others will approve. There is joy in finding a partner, or many partners, who see every part of you and say, "I love all of this. All of you." There's joy in community too. In meeting another bisexual person and sharing that silent, knowing look, like, you get it. You've lived this. There's joy in being part of a spectrum, a current of love that refuses to be boxed in. There's joy in finally understanding your own story and realizing, I was never broken, I was just blooming. Bisexual joy is found in pride parades, in quiet moments of self-acceptance, in late-night heart-to-hearts with trusted friends, in writing your truth for the first time, in seeing yourself on screen, in hearing the word bisexual spoken with dignity. It's found in healing. It's found in freedom. For those still on their journey, questioning, unsure, trying to find the right words, I want to say this gently and clearly: you don't need to rush. You don't need to force certainty. Identity is not a race. It's a home you build at your own pace, brick by honest brick. Maybe you've known for years. Maybe you're just now wondering. Maybe you've said the word bisexual in your head but haven't said it out loud. That's okay. That's valid. That's brave. And if you're in a place where you can't be out safely yet, that doesn't make your identity less real. Safety matters. Your well-being matters. You are not less worthy because you're navigating in the shadows right now. One day, when you're ready, your light will come forward. Until then, it still burns bright inside you. We must also make space for fluidity. Because sexuality can evolve. Some people may feel more gay or more straight at different times in their life, and that doesn't mean they were ever lying. Bisexuality includes movement. It allows for change. It embraces complexity. And in a world that often demands black or white answers, bisexuality is a powerful, radical, both/and. Let's also remember that not everyone uses the same language. Some people who are attracted to more than one gender may identify as pansexual, queer, fluid, or may use no label at all. That's okay. Language is a tool, not a cage. What matters most is that you feel seen in your own words. And that others respect those words, even if they're different from their own. As we wrap up this deep and heartfelt look into bisexuality, I want to return to something simple. Something powerful. Love. That's what this is all about. At the core of every identity we explore in this LGBT series is the same driving force: love. Love for others. Love for self. Love that doesn't need to justify itself. Love that is honest and whole. Bisexuality is not just about attraction, it's about the capacity to love with open arms and an open heart. And that love deserves to be safe. It deserves to be respected. It deserves to exist out in the open, without apology, without performance, without fear. To every bisexual person watching this, whether you've been out for years, are still figuring it out, or carry this part of yourself quietly inside, I want you to hear this. You are real. You are real. You are valid. You are enough. You are loved. You don't need to fit in to matter. You don't need to explain yourself to be believed. You don't need to choose a side. You are whole just as you are, with all the complexity, contradiction, beauty, and truth that lives in your heart. And to anyone watching who isn't bisexual but cares, thank you. You are part of the healing. You are part of the reason why visibility matters, why stories matter, why this video exists. Keep showing up. Keep learning. Keep loving people in the ways they need to be loved, not the ways that feel easiest or most familiar to you. That's what makes a difference. If this video helped you feel more seen, more understood, or more confident in who you are, please share it. Let it reach someone who may be sitting in silence, someone who's wondering if their feelings are real, someone who just needs to hear, you're not alone. Hit like, subscribe, and leave a comment below telling us what bisexuality means to you, whether you identify as bi, love someone who is, or just believe in a world where everyone deserves to be accepted as they are. This is the heart of our LGBT series, a space where identities are not just explained, but embraced. Where love is not limited, but liberated. Until next time, remember. You are loved. You are seen. You are enough. You are free.